And I had a little theory, and I wanted to test it. There was someone at Russia Today who said, "Oh yes, the expensive vodka is so much better. It's more pure. It tastes different." And I said, "Oh really? Really? Is that true?" So I bought a bottle of cheap vodka and a bottle of expensive vodka, and I blindfolded him and said, "Okay, you taste them and tell me." And he got it wrong. He said that the best one was the cheap vodka. So I think I might have been proved a little bit right, that as long as it's good enough, I don't know. Maybe you can answer my little question there, but I'm not so sure that you're not just paying for the name. But okay, that's drink. An interesting little tangent, little observation is that the way that water and heating works, especially in Moscow, when you arrive in Britain, everyone has a boiler in their house, and when they want hot water or heating, they turn the boiler on, and when they don't, they turn it off. But in Moscow, you don't get a choice. All the heating goes on, and all the heating goes off. And when I told this to my family, they were like, "Really? That's how it works? You don't have any control over your heating?" So yeah, in one way, I think it's amazing, because there's no one goes cold if you can't afford to pay your, well, to a degree. In England, if you can't afford to pay for your boiler or your heating, you have to live in the cold and wear more clothes in your house. But in Russia, everyone gets the same service. I think that's very good. On the other hand, I've rarely been in houses as hot as Russian houses in winter. I mean, walking around in a t-shirt in winter in your house in Moscow, it's crazy, but it's good that everyone gets that heating. The other thing is about the water, which is everyone gets hot water, but in June, July, the hot water goes off for 2 weeks. And I didn't know this was going to happen last year in the summer. So I walked into the shower one day, turned it on, and then the same for 2 weeks. I tried to stop showering, but I started to smell so bad, I had to go into the shower. So it was either freezing or smelling. It was a difficult choice. Yes, and that's another thing, but hopefully then that'll be improved over time. Yeah, just a little thing there, water and heating. Another thing is dogs in Moscow that I've noticed. We ran some news stories on this. It's estimated that there are 30,000 stray dogs in Moscow, and they now have a population large enough that they breed and they keep their own population going. So the catchers, the people that catch them and take them to kennels, they can't catch them fast enough. So that there's not enough space in the kennels for the dogs if there are. There's not enough homes for them to go to. It's an interesting problem. I'm not quite sure what the solution is. Maybe send them all to Siberia, or I don't know, give them to other countries. Maybe Britain, maybe we'd like something. I don't know, but it's an interesting thing that when you go, when you go to some metro stations, there's a big pack of dogs there, and you think, should I give them my blini so that they don't eat me? It's an interesting thing, but I'm sure Moscow will find a way of dealing with the problem. But one thing I saw, probably the most amazing thing I've seen in Moscow yet, is I swear it's true. I saw a dog that had learned to use the metro. Honestly, I was in the metro, and the train pulled up, the doors opened, a dog trotted on, and stood next to me, and then he got to a station and it walked off again. And went on to a different train. It knows where it's going. So maybe the dogs are super clever in I was amazed to see that. Yeah, just a little thing about dogs there. The metro itself is, I would say, it should be one of the 7 wonders of the world, because it's a very noble project. When it was originally built in the 30s, is that correct? 30s. Yes. That was, the design was to give luxury to the masses. The metro in London is disgusting. It's really boring, and everything is there for function, to be efficient. So it works, but Moscow is a combination of efficiency and beauty. And some of the stations, one of my favourites is Novoslobodskaya. I think there's many, people have their own favourites, but I think they're just works of art that really, people that my family had come visited and my friends, they just walked down and they're just amazed to see that something that's actually public transport could also be like a work of art. So I'm very impressed about that. That's the metro. There isn't, not everything in Moscow is good. Obviously every city has its problems, and there is one problem I think that is a big issue in Russia at the moment. It's to do with law and order. And I've been stopped by the police once in Moscow, and it wasn't a problem. It was just a standard check. I once, when I came when I was 19, when I was trying to get into the Kremlin, I had all my belongings with me. I left in my bag in the hostel, and I had everything with me in case anything went wrong. I was very nervous. So I had cameras and cards and wallets and phones and keys went off. Okay. They said, come on, step aside, take all your metal things. Okay, yeah. Went round. Oh, what could it be this time? Oh, it's a camera. 7 times I set the metal detectors off. 7 times. And in the end, the guys there, they just said, oh, forget it. Just forget it. So it was maybe my own fault, that one. I would say that once a policeman tried to stop me, who I don't think was a policeman at all. He showed me his little ID, and it looked like he'd written it himself. Had a little photo on, and he said, "Oh yes, I'm Militia." I said, "Oh really?" Had a little chat, and eventually he decided he would walk away. But this is the same in every city. In London, I was mugged. Do you know mugged is you're attacked so they can steal things. I've not been mugged here, so. Every city, I think, has similar problems in this regard. I would say, perhaps, that talking to Russians, the opinion that the Russians have, especially of traffic police, is perhaps there needs to be some work there. And I was with one of my colleagues in Russia today when they were stopped by a traffic policeman who wanted some money, but she was clever and she said, "I want your name, I want your identification." And eventually he said, "Oh, okay, let's just forget it," and walked away. So I would say maybe that's an area where maybe a little bit of work needs to be done. But overall, I would say the image of Russian police and Russian law and order is worse than the reality. The reality is I don't think it's so bad. So that's crime and punishment. Next of all, the weather. I mean, I'm an Englishman, so I've got to talk about the weather. All English people love talking about the weather. Everyone at home, whenever you ask, whenever you ring them up and speak to them, whenever they message you, the first thing they ask is it cold? Is it cold there? And I said, no, it's July, it's 30 degrees. I'm boiling. It's not. And they were like, it's not snowing there? They thought it was snowing all year round, and everyone's going to wade through massive drifts of snow. And no, it gets very hot here actually. So, but they never remember. They always ask, is it cold there? Oh, forget it, yeah. So I would say that the reason I came here when I was younger, was one of the reasons, because I wanted to see a real winter. England is, the weather's not so bad, doesn't get too cold, but it's always rainy, it's always grey, so you never really get the extremes, whereas here you definitely get the extremes. It can get massively hot in some of the places I went reporting to